Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the next episode of Kenspire Business Mantra, your continuing guide to in your journey of entrepreneurship. Friends, in the last episode, I wished you well for Happy New Year. And I take this opportunity to wish you all Happy Pongal and Happy Magar Shankranti, which is going to bring so much of prosperity to everyone. And let us all pray the sun god for a great harvest, which will translate into great economy and great uh, consumption. With that, friends, let us get into the episode. Just as a recap, in the last 6 or 7 episodes, what we have actually discussed is the way to structure an organization, the entity formation. We spoke about organization structure, process setting, art of delegation. Then we spoke about review mechanism, the importance of management information system and management review meetings. And we spoke about productivity, efficiency, and improvement. All these areas we have touched upon as general guideline in running a business organization. In the next few episodes, we'll be talking about certain specific functions of a business. These are going to be very important because these functions, when effectively handled, is only going to give you the necessary result. So, in that sense, the next topic we are going to take today is supply chain management. Right. When we say supply chain management, let us understand the context first. There could be a context of a manufacturer or even a trader. In both these contexts, let us understand this terminology. In the context of manufacturing, the supply chain starts even from the vendor, raw material vendor, and the way it comes into the organization after procurement, stores, inventory, then your issue to production, which becomes your work in progress. Then it is converted into finished goods, and then the finished goods are sold to consumer. So a typical definition of supply chain can be from RM till it reaches the consumer as finished goods. How effectively and efficiently an organization manages its inventory during this entire journey from RM to FG is what we are going to discuss. In the trading scenario, it is pretty much simple from the vendor till the consumer, right? So when from vendor we buy and then we supply to the customer and then it ends there, right? So in today's scenario, we'll be discussing more from manufacturing context, which has a lot of challenges. So we spoke about the chain, like from raw material it comes into the stores, then from the stores it is materials are issued for production, and then there would be certain amount of work in progress depending upon the nature of the product that is being produced, and then it is converted into finished goods, packed, and then dispatched to the consumer or the customer for further collection and so on and so forth. Now, we spoke about efficiency and effectiveness here, right? So, why it is important to control your inventory? Because when we say inventory, it is cash. It is just a very important part of your overall investment in business, right? So, the biggest challenge in supply chain management is how efficiently I'm able to maintain the level of raw material, the level of my work in progress, level of finished goods in my FG stores so that my business functions in a smooth way. One of the key decisions an organization has to take is how much to buy, how much to stock. Very big question. Lot of times Organizations face either excess inventory holding or shortage in raw material holding. Both will result in multiple problems. So, how to identify the optimal inventory? There are several scientific methodologies which can be adopted. There are amazing software solutions which are also available for each and every industry specifically. If it is auto components, there are certain solutions. If it is retail businesses, there are certain inventory optimization solution, so on and so forth. So, depending upon your uh, product category and industry, you need to find out the tool to manage it. But the most important principle to be kept in mind is to keep your inventory holding cost to the least possible level. How do I do that? By clearly fixing my RM level and connecting my raw material level to my production cycle, and then which will again be based on sales forecast. So it's a complete cycle which needs to be studied, and then coming to plan the raw material purchases. Another key variable here is the efficiency of my vendor or the supplier. Okay. Now, it is extremely important and needless to say that a very effective vendor management process is required for a very successful supply chain management process. So, how well I fine tune my suppliers or vendors will decide my success of managing my inventory. So, there are many organizations where they resort to just in time buying, so that I keep my raw material stores in a very lean way, LEAN, lean way, so that as and when it is getting consumed, the raw material will get refilled into the RM stores. What is the advantage? My inventory holding cost will be very minimal. Thereby, my interest cost, finance cost will be very, very least. That is where you can build efficiency. What is the second advantage? I will always get fresh raw materials into my operations. That is also another advantage. Third advantage is my supplier will have clarity as to what to supply, when to supply, how much to supply. That clarity will be there because I would have given him a clear plan for 1 week or 1 month or 1 quarter, as the case may be. So it is extremely important to fine tune your vendor according to your requirement. That is a very important area. A lot of times SMEs uh, tend to ignore the importance of vendor management. We blindly go with so-called the least cost supplier alone. Right, least cost is very important, but the quality of the supplier, efficiency of the supplier, all those things are also important to take care while deciding the vendor. Another major challenge in inventory management is aging inventory, right? When we buy in excess quantity and more than what is required, it is going to be aging, and that may sometimes impact the quality of my output. Okay, so I need to be very careful about buying in the right quantity as far as raw material is concerned. And several times, quality issues may crop up because of old inventory which are lying in the stock. And another very important dimension in inventory planning is what is my sales forecast? How volatile my sales forecast is? And what is the seasonality of the product category in which I'm operating? All these things are important questions to be answered while deciding the raw materials to be purchased. Coming to work in progress, a work in progress has to be very minimal, and that is going to be a very important goal to be achieved in any production planning methodology. A lot of tools like TQM and TPM tools to be used to keep your work in progress to the minimal, so that will not happen. A well-oiled machinery, as they call it, is basically RM should come and keep going with least WIP, and your FG stores should have bare minimum, and just it should, again, should come and go. It should be like that. It should be like a pass-through entity. That's all. It should not stay for more than a certain minimum period of time. Production control and production planning plays a very important role in all these things again. The excess production may lead to issues in cash flow, issues because of aging, quality issues, and then reduction in value of my uh, finished goods. All those things will be there. So it's better to properly plan your production. One of the effective tools is go with a supermarket concept in terms of planning your production, which means what? You can take in any business, there'll be a fast moving, medium moving, and slow moving items. You can classify as A, B, C. And it is always predictability is more in fast moving items. And an organization can plan to produce as much as possible the fast moving items in shortest possible time, because you have a surety of that those materials to be taken up by the customers. So you can create a supermarket concept. What is supermarket concept? The finished goods stores for my fast moving items, A category items. I will produce not based on sales forecast of the ensuing month. I will produce based on the reorder level which I fix for those fast moving items in my supermarket stores, right? So that way my production planning becomes much more predictable. And then of course there will also be requirement of slow moving items which I will produce based on orders, where my lead time will be slightly larger. So the advantage of the supermarket concept is I can turn it into a sales strategy also, wherein for my customers, I can offer them very quick delivery from my supermarket. Even next day delivery or same day delivery I can give if I'm able to maintain a supermarket concept for my fast moving items, right? So the planning is based on product category and the classification of the products and volatility of the market and the seasonality of the particular category of the product. With all these things, ultimately what is important in supply chain is maximization of sales. That's the goal of the organization, right? I can't lose sales because I want to keep minimum inventory in my RM or FG stores or whatever it is. That should not be the only goal. The main goal to be achieved is maximum sales to be achieved. Now, talking about that, one question always comes to somebody's mind. What brings you sales? Think about it, ponder about it. A lot of people may say demand brings sales, availability of money with the customer brings sales, all those things will be there. But if you deeply think, availability of the finished goods at the right time, at the right place only brings sales. So availability is a very important criteria. Availability in the point of sales is a very important criteria for a sales to be concluded. So the core objective of supply chain should be ultimately efficient management of raw material and your other materials, but more importantly, availability of the right product at the point of sale so that my sales is always maximized and I won't end up having loss of sales. So the core objectives can be no loss of sales, least stock holding, least holding in my stores, then control over yield and control over scrap that is coming out of the production process. Ultimately, how productive and how efficient my entire supply chain process is going to be. The entire profitability will be decided. In fact, certain quality gurus say profits are made in the shop floor. Profits are never made from the customer. Profits are made in shop floor where you build efficiency and productivity, right? So with I have only given you some broad principles, broad challenges, and certain possible solutions. This is more to kindle your thought in terms of deep diving into your own industry, deep diving into your own challenges in supply chain. There is no one simple solution for all the companies. Everybody has to figure out their own solution, but the principles what I have suggested need to be kept in mind. So a very successful supply chain process will decide the long-term success of a business. So that with that note, we come to the conclusion of this short episode on supply chain. Any queries on this, please mail to this particular email ID. And please don't forget to subscribe to our Kenspire YouTube channel, because every time you will get a notification when a new video is released. That way, it's easy for you to continue with our various episodes. Thank you very much, friends, and wish you all the best.